Hello and welcome to lesson 8 in the Be Healing Attracting Your Soulmate Intensive for these 3 days. So this lesson is about more releasing, more healing, and this time what we're doing is we're looking at relationship issues. Now these can be the trickiest to shift because they tend to be completely unconscious. We do them not realizing, and we have them not realizing that they're issues at all until they do become conscious, and then we're aware that they're an issue, and then we can work at releasing them. And now we all have these relationship issues, and they usually come from the parents. And so first step to releasing your relationship issues is to look at your parents' relationship, okay, and the things that worked in that relationship and the things that didn't work in that relationship. The patterns, you probably are the best judge as a child, seeing those parents' relationships of what wasn't right about that relationship and what was right about it. And what most of us do is we look at our parents' relationships and we decide on what we want and what we don't want from that relationship. Now the stuff that we don't want from that relationship we tend to take with us anyway, because we have no example of any different. And so what happens is we decide that we don't want to have that issue in our relationships, and then we go ahead and we recreate it in our own relationships. And this can be really frustrating, and I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this, is that when you recreate it, you're like, well, but I don't want one of these relationships. I don't want one that has those problems that I've had before. And so the reason that it happens, the reason that we recreate it, is that we've still got it in our energy. As I say, we haven't been given an example of how not to have that issue. And as much as we might push against having that particular issue ourselves, unless we have an alternative, like a positive alternative of how to not have that issue, then we're going to recreate the issue that we're pushing against. It's just the law of attraction at work again. You know, if we're focusing on a problem in a relationship rather than the solution and completely forgetting the problem, then we will just keep on recreating the same issue again. And so it's really important to look for examples of where this issue isn't in play. So once you've figured out what your main issues are, what the main issues were with your parents' relationship, and which ones you've brought forward with you that you don't want to have, so once you've identified them, then it's a matter of clearing that within yourself to find the positive way to be in a relationship without that issue. And so, say for example, my parents didn't communicate emotionally with each other very well at all, and I went into relationships doing the same thing. When I started having relationships, I'd find the ones that couldn't emotionally communicate as well. And of course, I didn't know how to emotionally communicate, so I didn't do it, and I didn't even see that there was a problem there until it came into my awareness that relationships don't work very well like that. And I figured that there must be another way. I hadn't seen it. Everyone that was around me, all of the relationships that were around me were showing that same thing, because law of attraction at work, I was just seeing what I knew around me. And so it took me to realize and search within myself for the answer. Ask the universe, come on, there's got to be better relationships than this. There's got to be a different way of doing it. And that's when I was taken on the journey of emotional communication, and that can happen in many different ways as well. But so it's a matter of finding the alternative, finding that positive, so that you can start attracting that to your life. And so what's other examples? So another one of mine was controlling. I could pick out a controlling man in a room full of 1,000 men, and I would be attracted to him. And not only would I be attracted to him, but I would totally give him all my power too. And that was a pattern. I didn't know what else to do. I mean, that to me was love, because that's what I've learned from my parents. Is that's how you do relationships. And so even though I knew that I didn't want to have that, I didn't want to have a controller in my life, I would still pick them out, because I only knew how to be a victim. I only knew how to give my power away. I didn't know how to stand in my power, because nobody had shown me that. No, I hadn't seen any relationships around me where a woman was stood in her power. And so again, it took me to realizing that I couldn't keep on doing these relationships where I was, giving my power away. It was crazy. It wasn't nice to be in a relationship like that at all. It felt horrible. In fact, it felt like I got no freedom, and felt really trapped. And that's not what I wanted out of a relationship at all. So it took me stepping back from there and saying, okay, universe, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to have a controlling relationship. Show me how I can have a relationship that's different than that. And that's when it's so important to ask. It's so important to ask your guides and the universe these questions, because then you're shown the answer. And so this is a lesson in finding solutions, in finding positive role model relationships that you can look to see how it works. And it doesn't matter if you can't find that perfect relationship, you can't find a friend that's got a perfect relationship. I know when I was married for 7 years, and when I was breaking that marriage up, I went searching for answers around all my relatives and friends, and everybody that was married, I went to saying, how can you do it? How can you keep a marriage together? I've tried it and I can't do it. And none of them said they were happy. Every single one of them told me that they should have split up years ago, and this didn't do much good for my feeling and my belief in marriage or in soulmates or in relationships at all. I just thought, well, that's it. No relationships can work forever. None of them are good. But of course, that was what I had around me, because I had reflections of myself around me. And so it took me to not trying to find that relationship to have a look at. In fact, I did. Looking back, I did have. There was a relationship. Um, there were two people who were that weren't in my family, but they're in my ex-husband's family, that did have have a very good relationship. And looking back now, I can see that was really good, and the things that they did were really good and working for them. At the time, they were just so out of my awareness, out of what I was used to, that I thought they were weird. I thought they were mad, the way that they would do everything together, and that this seemed so codependent to me. It seemed like lack of freedom to me. But looking back, I can see that it was a soulmate relationship. It was they'd found that perfect match. And so it doesn't always help finding one like that to learn from either. And so how does it work? It works by us having a personal healing journey. And the personal healing journey starts with becoming aware of our issues. And so I've said already, your homework would be to think about your parents' relationship, think about the relationships you've had and which issues you've brought forward with you. Think about the relationship issues that you really push against. And so years ago, for me, it would be, controlling. I don't want a controlling person, but so that was me pushing against it and therefore bringing another one to me. So think about all those things, write those down, because once you've faced it, once you've faced what the issues are, those core issues, and these can come in layers too. And so you might say that jealousy is your issue in relationships, and when you've cleared that it's gone, and then just what happens is you're shown another example of it, and to clear it again. It's like We're given things in ways that we can deal with it, just like in levels that we can deal with it. Like we're like an onion with the layers, and then we peel them away. And so don't be surprised if something comes up again, just slightly differently as you're going through these issues. But yeah, the most important thing is to face them and ask for help. You know, it's like how if you're suffering a that makes you sound like a victim. Actually, you're not suffering a relationship issue. If you have a relationship issue and you don't know what you don't know what the positive solution is, you don't know how to be in a relationship without that, you don't know what that would look like, then ask your guides. Ask your guides to be shown what that would look like, and then keep your eyes open, not just for other people in relationships that might show you that, but for clues. And for example, I was shown the emotional communication issue came through friends and through um, a course, like short courses that I did, like this intensive kind of thing, just like weekend courses that caught my eye, that weren't really about communication, but always had that aspect to it. And so I kind of built up this picture of what emotional communication in a relationship looks like, and how it would feel, and how to do it. And I was just clearing that issue when I met my soulmate, and on my list of what I wanted from my soulmate, what I wanted my soulmate to be, was to be really good at emotional communication, just so that I could learn that and practice it more. And so I needed somebody that already had that really, really well, so that I could learn more. And sure enough, yeah, he's great at it, and taught me so much more sense about emotional communication too, in many ways. Um, so an issue can be taken into a soulmate relationship like that, but only once you're firmly committed to clearing it. That's what I'm trying to say. And so your homework is to find out what the issues are. Again, this is an ongoing process. You know, this is a list that you'll have to keep on working through, because this is going to be shown to you again and again until it's all cleared. This is about practicing good relationship techniques, really. It's about understanding how to be in a relationship, and what strengths and what skills that you need to actually be in a relationship and for it to work. Because that's the opposite of issues, really. The relationship issues are just a lack of relationship skills. And so it's up to you to work out which issues are still there, which ones need to be worked on. Now, in today's webinar, if you're stuck on any of these at all, and from the last lesson too, if you're stuck on any of the past relationship stuff and feel like you can't let somebody go for some reason, bring those along so that we can discuss those too, and I can help you out with that in the webinar. So good luck in dealing with that. Again, this is going to be an ongoing task for you, as it is throughout life. I mean, this is what we're doing in life. We're constantly healing ourselves and constantly creating new and better things for ourselves, hopefully. And so this is an ongoing process. But as this is intensive, you can really get through a lot today, and we can help you shift some more at the webinar tonight, or this morning, whenever it is for you. So good luck with that, and see you in the next lesson.